Hey, welcome to day 21 of the 30-day money course. Today, we're going to be talking about investing in property, and I'm going to share with you 4 ways that you can invest in property. And listen to the end because it's going to be really exciting. I'm Elizabeth Booker. I'm the founder of Wealth from Little, and I'm also your hostess here on this 30-day money course. Okay, let's get into it, right? Okay, so investing in property. Let's talk about the most popular option, right? That is, finding a property you like in a really good area that you've inspected and you think will bring in good rental income, and then saving 10 to 20%, towards the deposit, getting a mortgage to cover the rest, and then renting that property out to tenants, and then getting some rental income from that while the property value keeps growing. It's a great way to build your investment portfolio. You own the property, and then you're also getting income on a monthly basis from the property. So your money and your investment are working hard for you. It's a really great way to grow your wealth, and it's a really great way to start, to invest in property. However, if saving the first 10 to 20% towards a mortgage, towards your deposit, is difficult for you, this might not be the path for you, especially if you haven't saved your emergency fund yet. So if that's still an issue for you, let's go to my next option. If getting the money together is an issue, maybe option number 2 might work. So now this option is called rent to rent, and it's basically how it sounds. You rent a property to rent it out to someone else. So you find like a landlord who has a property that wants to rent it out, or would like to rent it out most of the time, but maybe he just can't find the right tenants. Doesn't have the time to find the right tenants. So you rent it out from him, and then you go on to rent that property to other people. Maybe you rent it on a short-let basis or even a long-term basis based on your agreement with the real landlord. So it's not like you actually own the property, but you're more of controlling the property. You rent it for a certain amount, and then you rent it out again for that certain amount plus a little bit more, or a lot more based on you, and then you get to keep that difference. So that's how you control the property, and you earn money from the property. So your money might be working for you in this sense, but the investment, it's not an investment, so the investment is not growing. And for you, it's definitely, the investment, which is a property, is going for the landlord. So this is a great idea if you have time to find tenants, and you're able to build rapport and connect with landlords who need their houses rented out, and you don't need to own the property. However, if that's still an issue for you, finding the time to find tenants and sort them out and control the property and ensure everything is okay, if that's not for you, then rent to rent might not be for you. Thinking about rent to rent, it reminds me a lot of Airbnb, right? Because they don't own any property. They just rent out your property to other people. Okay, third option. Now, this is, imagine you want to buy a property and you have a bunch of friends who want to buy a property, and you all want to buy this investment property, but none of you can afford to do it. So, or maybe they're not even friends. Maybe there are loads of people who want to do the same thing. People with like-minded people, right? And so you imagine a basket, and I have a basket here. So imagine a basket where everyone puts in a certain amount of money, a little bit. And because individually you can't build the deposit to buy that property, but as a group, all of you put in a little bit of money in together in that basket. Now the basket is a big enough pot that you can give to the bank towards your deposit. right? Or towards the mortgage, or towards, the property price. And that's called property investment crowdfund. And you can do this as a family. If you have brothers, sisters, cousins, and you all have the same goal to be landlords, but you don't all have the enough money, you can come together and create a pot where all of you put in, money into that pot. And then as a collective, you can buy a property. And you can collectively own the property and collectively rent it out. And now, of course, one person or just, a couple of people would control the transaction because, just to ensure everything is seamless. But you would all have legal, rights to this property. How does that sound? So this way, you might not have a lot of money. Maybe you need 10,000 for the deposit, for example. And then you have 10 people. Maybe 5 of them are your friends, or 5 of them are your in-laws, and 5 of them are your siblings, right? Or 4 of them are your siblings, the 5th is you. And then 10 of you come together, drop it £1,000. All comes together, it's now £10,000, and that's the price of the deposit and the lawyer's fees and everything comes to £10,000. And now you have enough money as a collective to invest in that property. And then you can rent it out and you can all start making passive income as a group. This is a great way to build wealth because we don't all have to individually do things by ourselves. We don't all have to individually climb Everest by ourselves. We can help each other up, right? And we will get there so much faster. Because if it's going to take you 10 years to save £10,000, and it's going to take every one of your family members 10 years to save £10,000, in 10 years' time, by the time you've saved that £10,000, the price of the property will probably have gone up, 10 times. So it's a great way. So it's like a collective crowdfund, property investment crowdfund. And I think that's a really great idea, especially for families who want to build wealth or want to build generational wealth together. Now, let's say you still don't have that £1,000, or you actually don't, maybe you're an only child, you don't have this family around you or friends that you trust to be intertwined with financially. You want to just be by yourself. You don't want to invest with other people. I get it, but you still want to invest in property. I get it. My 4th option might be for you. Now, and here is your homework, and for you to actually do some work. And you can email me your feedback, email me for some feedback. Email me for some feedback. Right now, a lot of corporate, let me start by giving you an example. For example, have you been to a mall recently? Right? You see malls, you see hotel chains, hospitals, schools, warehouses. Those buildings are owned by companies. Not all of them, but most of them are owned by companies, right? And those companies also need to raise capital because they want to raise money so that they can invest in more property or have more commercial property in other places, right? Now, in order to as a way of raising that capital, sometimes companies can go into the stock market. Like I explained to you, they go into the stock market, they share a piece of their company with you, and you buy a piece of it and give them money, and they raise capital that way. Another way they can raise capital is by becoming an investment trust, by becoming a real estate investment trust. Now, when they become a real estate investment trust, they are exempted from corporate tax. Because they're exempted from corporate tax, you are allowed to invest in them. That means give them money so that they can raise capital. And by giving them money to raise capital, you literally just give them the money. The company sorts out, the fixing of the commercial building, renting it out, doing everything for it, but they do pay you a dividend. And that is your reward. So that is your passive income. So based on how much you invest in that company, you get an equivalent amount in dividends. So as you do that, you can start creating passive income by investing in commercial property, by investing in commercial properties that are real estate investment trusts. Now, the benefit of this is that you can start with very little money. Many of these real estate investment trusts sell their shares for $20, $50, $100 a share, very little money. And you can even buy a fraction of that share. So if you only have £50 to invest, you can decide, I'm going to put in £50 every month into a real estate investment trust. Obviously, you need to keep growing that until you have, as obviously your personal worth, your personal income grows, you can start increasing your investment in that. The beautiful thing about it is that you don't need a lot of money to start, and you do own a piece of that commercial property. So if you invest in the mall that you go to down the street every weekend, every time you go there, you know that I own a piece of that mall, even if it's just a brick. So those are 4 ways to invest in property. I'll just do a quick recap. First, rental income, buying a property, putting 10% to 20% down, and then renting out the property for passive income. And also, the property will increase in value. If you don't have enough money for 10%, you can do rent to rent. So you're renting to rent to someone. You're basically an Airbnb. You're a walking Airbnb. The third way is a pot, like a collective investment crowdfund, a property investment crowdfund, right? You and some other people come together and you put money together so you can start investing in property. The fourth way is an real estate investment trust. And this way, you don't need to put in a lot of money. You can start with very little and start buying. You can start investing in shares of real estate companies with very little cash. So I hope that helps. Your homework is to research all these ways. Look at your finances and decide, if I want to, that's for those who want to invest in property. If I want to invest in property, what am I able to do now? And what would I like to do in the future? Look, we're looking to build multiple streams of income here. So even if you want to do all 3, go for it. But do the research. As I said, never invest in anything you do not understand. That is so important. Have a great day. See you in day 22.